and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. But not just that, the inaugural Webinar Wednesday of 2024. So thank you everyone for choosing to spend time with us today, and I hope that your year is off to a wonderful start. So today is January 17th. Who made New Year's resolutions? And who is still sticking to them? So let us know in the chat if you did, how your year is going. Is this year you're going to publish? Have you published already? Is this year you're going to publish another book? We hope regardless of where you are, we can inspire and help you today. And shout out to Revere for starting off the chat. Rev, I'll call you that. That's easier. So thank you for starting off the chat. Hey, Leanne, Steve, Sue, Dawn, Joanne, Lori, Lisa, Pam, Chris, Anita, Linda. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for saying hello and joining the chat. Drop in where you're from, how it's going. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in our podcast studio, actually at the Lulu headquarters right now. So just quick plug, if you have not tuned into our podcast, definitely check it out. It's not me, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to listen to any more of me. It sounds great. The studio looks great. So check out our podcast if you get a chance. So thanks everyone for tuning in. This will also be on our YouTube channel, and the recording will be sent out to everyone. I am joined today by Audrey Hughey. You may have noticed I have a guest with me. We are so lucky to have her. She did such an amazing job last year and really helped a lot of folks kick their year off right. And so we were so excited to have her back. So today we are going to learn how to create your ultimate authorship plan for 2024. This is the year. We're doing the thing. So if you have any questions, Audrey has very kindly offered to answer them at the end of her presentation. So we have a Q&A tab. You can see, obviously, you guys have found the chat. So thank you for getting the conversation started. In the Q&A tab is where you can drop your questions as they come up, and Audrey will answer them at the end. All right, so if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Audrey Hughey is, Audrey has had 6 years of experience in designing specialized planners for authors. She is passionate about helping her fellow writers organize their creative and personal lives, empowering them to chase their dreams. Alongside her planner creation, Audrey writes in the genres of horror and thrillers, weaving stories filled with fear and suspense. As an active member of the writing community, she is dedicated to offering guidance and encouragement to her fellow authors. And I just have to brag on her really quick. She did a podcast already this morning at 4 a.m. And she's also taking care of some sick family members as she does this for all of you. So please give her a warm welcome. And thank you again so much, Audrey, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love doing this. I feel so blessed and honored that you guys invited me back. So I am ready to get started and so excited to share and help people maybe refine that plan they started with this year.
Amazing. Well, I will turn it over to you. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone to create your ultimate authorship plan for 2024. I am already loving reading your comments about who is already published, who is planning to publish this year, and I hope you love this session. That is my goal, to see that you absolutely love what we do here today. All right, so this is what we're going to go over really quickly. I'll talk a little bit about who I am and why I love planning, how to set effective goals as authors, my concept, Nimble Planning, so staying adaptable and letting your plan evolve over the year, how we build our systems for success, and then we'll have time for questions. All right, so a little bit about me. I am a fiction author and a planner creator. I have been writing fiction for, like many of you, since I was a little one. And as soon as I could write, I was writing stories. So that finally, as I became an adult, I joined the military, and I'm a born nerd. So I love planning and organization, and the military was a really good fit for me because it taught me systems and feedback and how to evaluate progress and how to let missions adapt to make sure that we're meeting our targets. And I had my first byline in a local magazine in 2015, and I spent the next 18 months working for them, writing for them for their two monthly publications. While I went to school, I did freelance writing and work, and I was raising two very small children. I have my Bachelor's of Arts in English and my Master's in Ancient and Classical History. So I kind of rebelled there and I didn't go for the MFA. But I'm very happy that I went for the history major. So I created my first planner in 2017 because there wasn't anything on the market for authors who wanted to have a whole life planner. And one second, guys. For people who people like us who have a whole life, we have work probably, we have households to manage, we're either caring for children or for aging family members, whatever that situation is, there's so much going on in our lives that sometimes writing falls to the wayside. And for me, I didn't want that to happen anymore. I realized that writing is this essential constant part of my identity in my life, and I did not want to let life and the chaos of life take over anymore. I wanted to take back control of my life and make sure that I continue writing. So can anyone resonate with that? Is that something you've experienced where you feel like life got so busy, or things, you got these curveballs and you couldn't continue writing, or just you had to put writing on the back burner? Let me know in the comments. I know for me, it was super important to not only pursue my Bachelor's of English in writing, or Bachelor's of English with a writing concentration, but also it really helped when I was in a writing group that kept me thinking about writing and staying attuned to my writing community. Health issues, yes, oh my gosh. Yes, how to plan when we're wearing so many hats. That is a huge thing, especially when we're parents and we have jobs or what have you. There's just so many hats to wear. So let's go ahead and move on then. This is for you guys. We're going to talk about setting effective authorship goals in 4 stages. And the first thing we have to do before we can even set goals is understand our priorities. Understand what matters to you most. Understand that not everything has the same level of priority, okay, and importance in your life. Then we're going to talk about how to make sure your goals are authentic. Make sure that we're setting goals that are possible while fulfilling your potential. And then we're going to develop your clear, laser-focused goals. So the first thing we have to do is set our priorities. This is how it usually goes, okay? Self, because that it has to be our number one priority, because we cannot take care of anyone else or do anything very well if we are not taken care of. So our second is usually our family, whether we have children or whether we have a spouse or parents or elderly family members, whoever our family is. Sometimes it's a found family, but whoever our family is, that's really important to us, because a big part of this life is the impact we have on others, the positive impact we have on the lives of the people around us. So number 2 is family. Number 3, if you're here, you're a writer and this is important to you. Writing is part of how you see yourself in the world. So that for me is an obvious number 3. Number 4 is income. Is there anybody who loves their day job and would do that no matter what they were doing? Or would you like, writing to be your day job? So that's why for me, income comes in number 4. We need that income to, pay our editors and to fill our book cover hoards. I am a book cover hoarder. I love book covers and art and hiring artists. That's one of my favorite ways to spend my money. But yes, so income is really important because it sustains ourselves, our family, and our writing. So first you save yourself, then you save yourself. Yes. So absolutely think about your priorities in that way. These are buckets, really. So self isn't just self-care. It's getting up, it's feeding yourself. It's not just spa days. It's anything you can do that you need to do for yourself to make sure that you can breathe and you're not getting overwhelmed or running so hard that you create more health issues for yourself, especially if you already have some health concerns. Family, this is all the family stuff, from budgeting, from family outings, from quality time to cooking and housework, homework, parent-teacher conferences, medical appointments, anything like that. Think of these things as buckets. Writing doesn't include just drafting new words. It includes everything from brainstorming to publishing and marketing. So the entire process. So just think of these priorities as buckets, and how the things in your life can be sorted into these buckets. And sometimes there's little overlaps, like a Venn diagram. So sometimes writing is the thing we need to do for our self-care because it's important to us. And if it's something that's bothering us, then it needs to be attended to. So now that we have that sorted, let's talk about setting authentic goals. Your goals should be intrinsically motivated. So I want you to think about your goals. And if you can, please share one or two of your writing and or publishing goals for 2024 in the comments. And now, are your goals coming from within you and your desires, or are they created after you saw someone else's goals, or after reviewing what someone else has done, or anything like comparing? Comparisonitis is a problem. So think about where that goal is coming from. A lot of people will say that they want to be a six-figure author because that's what they see other people saying, instead of really thinking about what it takes for them to be financially free and to live well, because there's a lot of work that goes into being a six-figure author consistently, or multiple six or seven-figure author. So think about what you need for you in your life, and to make sure that those goals really have meaning. Because if you're not intrinsically connected to them, then it's a lot easier for those things to fall by the wayside. So let's see. Prioritizing work hours so you can write more and do more author things. Yay. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Video running. Okay. Looking at we have some people who it looks like they're having trouble getting in. Okay. Day in the life. Hopefully Chelsea can help you guys get in. Let's see. Book published no later than 9 March. Oh, that's a good date, Rev. That is the date one of my writing buddies is publishing her second book. So we are very excited and preparing to help her with that. Okay, good goals. Oh, yes, I like that. And you kind of have a mission statement there with your goal and your book. All right. So if you guys can hear, hop out and hop back in if you are having trouble getting into the webinar. All right. So think about next, after you have reviewed your goals and determined whether or not they're intrinsically motivated, or if you have some kind of external muddying there. Think about your day in the life. If money was no object, if you had everything you need in Maslow's hierarchy and more, how would you spend your day? How would writing fit into your world at that point? Because everybody should know by now that writing is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? It is definitely, it takes a huge upfront investment, I think, of time and money and energy and emotion, really. But think about if everything you had, everything you needed was taken care of, what would your day look like? How would you spend your time taking care of yourself? How would you spend time with your family? Build your ultimate vision from what your days ideally would look like if you could spend them however you wanted, with no concern about money or shelter or any of the needs. What would that look like? Okay, and how does writing fit into it? Once you have that, it's a lot easier to reverse engineer your goals and figure out what you can do in 2024 to start living that life and working towards that goal of living that life fully. So, for example, if you wanted to write only an hour a day, you might be able to do that now, even before reaching some dream vision or ultimate vision of being supported by your writing royalties. Let's see. Awesome. Fantastic. I love these comments, guys. Thank you so much. Her name, Rev, is Nicolette Terry. She is fantastic, and she's a very driven and committed young author. So 1 year, what is the most impactful thing you can do in 2024? And if you guys have an idea already, what is the most impactful thing you can do to reach your ultimate vision or your day in the life this year? Okay. For some people, that's publishing this book that you've been working on for a long time. For some people, that's publishing the next book or the next 3 books. Depending, everybody has a different pace. So it's depending on your schedule, your needs, and what your life looks like. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I love it. I love it. All right. So what can you do? Is there anything from that day in the life that you can start living now? For example, the writing time, or time for editing, or time for doing things to improve your own quality of life, whether that's meal prepping better, because if we are eating well, our brain is functioning better, things like that. So think about not just the writing part, but your whole life. If we're thinking holistically, then we're better planning for life and taking back control from the feeling of chaos. So we have 2024 goal is to complete the first draft. Yes, awesome. Love it. All right, so think about that, guys. What is the most impactful thing that you can do in 2024 that will lead you closer to that day in the life vision? Next, let's make sure our goals are possible, but let's not forget our potential. Okay. Realistic has such a negative connotation. It makes us play smaller. And one thing I've learned over all these years, since getting my first byline in 2015 and spending years building up and then writing and then publishing and publishing some more, is that if you have to shrink yourself to fit realistic, you're not going to show up as big as you possibly can. And I just believe that life is too short to not live it as fully as possible and to play by any arbitrary rules of this is how it should be, because everybody's got a different version of what those rules look like. So forget realistic, okay? We don't want to be planning in a fear-based way. We want to plan and think about all of our potential to fulfill those priorities, to take care of ourselves, to make memories and positively impact the lives of our family, to write and publish in a way that is meaningful to us and represents how we identify with writing and what we want to leave behind, really, because we get to leave those words behind us. And then, of course, income. For a lot of people, your career isn't mutually exclusive with your writing goals. So you want to have a great career, or you want your career to build up this great retirement so that you can write full time and not worry about the money. So think about things like that. Think about fulfilling your potential in alignment with those top 4 priorities in your life. How can you fulfill your potential for writing? Now, it's not really advisable to think, oh, I can go from not publishing at all to making 7 figures in the first year. I would highly recommend you don't do that. That is not likely, okay? I want you to think about the attainable things that you can do. So we cannot control our royalties. We have to learn how to market. That takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of experimentation. So your goal should be more like publish how many books, or finish how many books, finish my revisions, things that you know that are in your control. Things that are clearly within your control are so much easier to plan for and to take action for than things that are not in your control. Okay. Especially if you don't yet have a backlist, it's a lot harder to determine what you're going to do to build up those royalties. So I would say building that backlist is your most important step, or publishing that book and building an audience, whatever it is, think about the action steps as your targets, as your goals. Review your calendar. When we're thinking about what's possible and fulfilling our potential, we have to look at our calendar. We have to learn, we have to think about what we can do within our unique lifestyles. So if you have children, you have to think about spring break, you have to think about summer break, you have to think about winter break. You have to think about, whether or not your child may be going through ups and downs with their grades and need more help from you to improve their grades. If you have an elderly relative that you're caring for, and I use this example because I have clients and friends that I help that are on both ends of that spectrum. Some people have grown children and they have, but they're caring for aging parents or family members. And that is a lot. That is a lot to handle on top of all the other hats we have to wear in life. And that situation can change rapidly. So think about what can you foresee for the year? We can't foresee everything, but there are some things that we can foresee, some challenges that we can predict. And if we are going to plan for how we move around or through those challenges with resilience, we have a much better chance of not succumbing to life's hardships and saying, I guess I'll try writing next year. Because yes, it is hard to write when you have so much going on in life, but it's not impossible. And it's not impossible to get to a point of stability here and there where you can say, I have a moment or I have a week, let me write while I can. If you have any of those situations where you just feel like you have no control, think about how you can fit in writing to those small spaces, because those small spaces start to grow when you keep showing up for it. So anyway, think about your calendar, think about your situation, and see how that compares to the goals you've set. Okay. Is this helpful for you guys? I hope it is. I hope this is in good consideration of all that you might have going on in your life. There is no one way to plan. I'm teaching you ways to adapt the idea of planning to your unique life and needs. Let's see. Short story work for published. Please guide me. Yes. Okay. Creating book covers. Rev. Awesome. Yes. I know a few book cover designers who have become authors, and it's so fantastic to see people, multi-passionate creatives pursuing those different avenues. All right, very helpful. Yes, awesome. I'm really glad to hear this, guys. Yes. Yeah, just think about that. Self, family, writing, and income. And, if you always know what your priorities are, it's a lot easier to adapt to the situation and not feel as resentful when things come up in life, like especially with the family or your health. You don't want to resent yourself, or you don't want to resent your family. So, but if those are always prioritized and that's more important in life at the big end of it all, it's easier to say, no, that's okay. It's okay. I need to focus on my health. I need to be with my children. I need to have these little moments while I can, whatever it is. It helps to know those priorities so you can be adaptable. All right, enough harping on that, sorry. So I wanted to give you an example here. Here is my 12-month project schedule, and I have a link for you guys at the end where you can get that if you want it. I made this nice little handout where you can, put in your, any appointments or events, or I should say deadlines or events, or like I have family vacation in there, a part of July and part of August, I have that. So I put those things in there so that way I know visually I can see where I have to move things around. And one second. It is perfectly acceptable to be a bootstrapping author, Rev. Don't worry. That is how we all have to start. So do what you can. and just keep moving forward, adapting and working hard to make your readers happy. So once I have put in all of the big events and things that I have to attend to, I put in, my writing schedule based on how I've prioritized my writing and what I think I can get done those months. It is a full schedule. It is a full schedule because I understand my pace and my capabilities. I understand from my situation what's possible, and I plan to fulfill my potential. As a writer, as a mom, wife, daughter, sister, I think about, and how to take care of myself. I have my project schedule set in there based on what my life looks like. So I'm writing, I create the planners, I do workshops, I create printables. So that's what I do for income. So I have my days where around my 5 kids and their needs and my husband's needs and all that, I know what I'm capable of. And like Chelsea said, I'm not afraid to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get things done. And I used to be a night owl. I had to change and adapt to the situation. Yes, I plan to fulfill my potential 100%. I am glad you guys like that. I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. And for me, this is what it looks like. So it's not a book a month, but I do have a bunch of short stories, which I write short stories a lot faster than I write longer works. For me, I get really excited about a short story, so I type really fast. I usually type anywhere from 80 to 110 words a minute. Depending on the story, depending on, if I know where I'm going. And with short stories, it's a lot easier for me. That's why I have confidence in what I can do. I am taking 3 months to write the first book because it's a co-writing project. And then April, I'm finishing a book, May, writing another book, and then June, writing another book. Because with those romances, I can easily write 6,000 to 7,000 words a day in about 4 hours. So it's really important for me to understand what my schedule is like. And during May, I know I'm going to have a lot of extracurricular stuff with the kids. I'm going to have their conferences and getting ready to get out of school. So I gave myself May and June to finish that romance, even though I write those pretty fast. So yeah, I put in my events and I figure out what projects I'm going to work on this year, how long I can expect each project to take, and then I map out my year, and it makes everything so much easier to break down and to put into my planner so that every single month when I open my planner, I can reevaluate what was done the month before and adapt or evolve the plan to continue focusing on those most important projects. So I hope this is a helpful example, and I hope you guys like this little project schedule I created. I have a lot of fun creating printables, so it's a little pride and joy for me. So focus goals. Once you have your authentic focus goals, and you can map them out like that, it's a lot easier to achieve any kind of focus and to maintain that over a longer period of time. That's why I wanted to give you guys those stepping stones to building really solid goals. Because if you're not connected internally and you're not seeing how those goals fit into your life and your identity, then it can be really, really difficult to maintain focus over the long haul. So prioritize your goals. So I have a few projects in there, and all of my projects, all of my goals, and they're really targets, things that I want to complete. I have a clear priority. And that book, which is the working title is Forsaken right now, that is the number one project priority for me right now because it's a co-writing project with an established author in the post-apocalyptic genre. And we are writing a post-apocalyptic book together. And I'm really excited for this project. And it's really important for me to show up for her and for our future readers. So I'm really excited about this project, and that's what makes it number one. And then I go through my WIP list and I look at what is partially done and what I can finish. And I build that priority list, which one's most important to me. And sometimes, now I want to talk about this balance target, this balance headline down there. Balancing your progress with your passion. Sometimes you feel like you're passionate about a lot of different projects, a lot of different works in progress, a lot of different story ideas. And you say, has anybody ever said, I don't know which project to work on? Because that is something I hear probably weekly at least. And every time I do a workshop, I hear people say, well, I don't know which project to work on. So if you have competing titles, let me know and know that you're not alone. It is okay and completely normal. And for you guys who are experiencing that, here's what I say. And I have this, I'm not trying to pimp my planner too much, but I have my planner. And in it, I have a 5 pages for listing out the manuscripts you're going to work on in the coming year. And one of the most important questions on that, you don't need the planner to use this question, but the question is, what makes this WIP or what makes this project important? Why is it important to you? Why do you think readers will love it? Okay. And when you have to list out your titles that you're worried about competing, they're competing in your head, when you start writing out why they're special, why they're important to you, it gets clear really fast which one stands out to you, which one needs the most attention, which one has the greatest ability to impact your audience, your future readers. We don't want our books just to sell. We want them to have an impact on people. I mean, I can't think of anyone who hasn't said that they're a writer because they were inspired by the work of another writer. So we want to inspire other people. So think about that. Which story, for each story, why is it special? What makes it special? Why is it important to you? And how is it going to impact your readers? When you write all those down and you compare those notes across manuscripts, then you're going to find out real fast which one you should prioritize. So let me know if that's helpful to you guys. So I give you another example here. In my project schedule, you see I'm finishing my series, my romance series, After Forsaken. I'm editing books, I'm completing 2 short story collections, and working to create more space for the projects that I'm passionate about completing in 2025. So I am thinking ahead a little bit. I kind of have an idea of, the next WIPs on the list. I have a list on my wall that I'm referring to, a WIPs list. But I know which ones that are important for me to complete as I explore genres. I am very eclectic in my reading and writing tastes. So I want to explore, and for me, that's part of my identity. So I know that it aligns with taking care of myself. It aligns with my priorities. But I am working on the things that I'm working on now, projects that I'm really passionate about, not just for the sake of progress, but for the sake of making an impact in the reading community, making an impact with hopefully a really big and positive impact with the author community. And then I am I'm writing my passion projects as well. I am not just working and checking boxes. I am doing the things that bring me joy. So hopefully that feels like something you can grab onto and remember as you move through this year. Nimble planning. This is my thing. I have been working on a way to share my ideas about planning with more people, and the title I came up with is Nimble Planning. So here's another thing I've been saying is planning is about ideas, not edicts. It is not something that has to be set in stone. It is something that should evolve as new variables enter the equation. As you feel like life is throwing curveballs, you are ready to duck. You are ready to dodge. You are ready to catch them, okay? And you are ready to adapt your plan to your priorities and to whatever changing situation comes along. So think about planning like, there's two analogies I really love. One, it's like being in a snowstorm on a mountain. You have to follow the guideline that's set up. Your plan is your guideline through the storm. You can't see very far ahead of you. So you need to follow your guideline, okay? It doesn't matter how fast you get there as long as you're getting there. Unless you do have a deadline with a traditional publisher, then you should hit your deadline. But still, the idea of planning is that it should be a guideline to help you stay focused on what really matters throughout your days. If you adapt a flexible mindset and think that, okay, every month I'm going to evaluate, see what went right with my planning and what could be improved, and not just planning, but did I stick to the plan? Do I need to change the plan to better fit my days? Do I need to experiment with a new schedule or routine? What do I need to do? So if you're constantly adapting your plan and evaluating the effectiveness of that plan, you're going to get to a better point of stability, resilience, and the ability to bounce back from big challenges. Okay. I think prioritization and adapting our planning is a lot easier than many people think. I cannot overemphasize prioritization. It is my big thing. It is how I have reduced my anxiety significantly over years, practicing resilience, practicing prioritization, knowing that if something comes up, where does it fall in the priorities? Or how does it change my focus during the day based on what category, what priority this challenge falls into? Oh, I have to pick up the kids from school. Well, they are priority number 2, and that comes above these other things because it's important for me to be there for them. Or if my mom calls me and she needs something, well, it's really important, okay? So think about it that way. We can account for the foreseeable. This is something I see when I work with people for the first time on their planning, that a lot of people aren't thinking about the things they already know. They're not planning ahead for breaks. They're not planning ahead for vacations or weddings, or if they have something going on. They're not planning for what is foreseeable, and that makes it feel like their plans are ineffective. So stay flexible, stay nimble, review, evaluate, and adjust your plan so that you can move forward with a lot more bounce back. Okay, we got to bounce back from challenges so that our writing does not ever get put on the back burner again. Okay. So building systems. Has anyone ever felt like you want to plan, you start planning, but then you don't stick with it? I'd love to see a show of hands, so to speak, in the comments. Let me know if that has ever happened to you. You get a new planner, you start using it, but then you don't stick with it. Let's see. Yes, Team Lulu, guilty. Yes, I struggled with this for a long time before I developed my own system, and out of that came my planner, of course. But it's all about building systems. Yes, that's my life. I love planning, but yeah. So I love planning, and I kept buying all these planners, these different planners. I backed Kickstarters. I went and I got a passion planner, and I got like every different version of planner I could possibly get, and nothing was working. And I realized that I needed to, one, make sure that a planner took into account my priorities, or I made sure that I was inputting my priorities into my planner. All of it. I believe we need to plan holistically. But once we do that, we need to set up some sort of system. And this is a lot of experimentation and trial and error. But once you hone in on what works for you and your unique life and situation, you will become unstoppable. Okay. I keep hitting my down arrows like I can switch slides that way. But yes, yes, my plans get derailed easily. Yeah, that's why that bounce back is so important. Build your system. Use timers. I use A Tracker Pro for my time tracking so that I can say, man, I spent so much time at X, Y, or Z this week, and I can go back and look at the breakdown of what I actually spent time on that week. So that might be something you want to do occasionally to evaluate where you're spending the most time, because then it allows us to plan a lot better. Timers, if you are getting on social media, or if you don't want to spend your life blogging, but you know you need to blog because that works in your genre or it's something you enjoy doing, set a timer, because if you allow it to, work will expand to fill whatever time you allot it. So if you allot it 45 minutes, get it done in 45 minutes, okay? But set timers to curb anything like social media scrolling, or to limit non-writing time, because that really, as writers, that is the core of our business, is getting the words out, getting the words down on paper and getting them to publishing. So set reminders. This is huge. Now, I keep my planner on my desk. I keep it right here so I know every single day what I need to do. But set a timer Sunday night or Monday morning, whatever works best to you, or maybe Sunday afternoon, to plan for the coming week. This can be a game changer. And then sometimes you're not planning by the week because you feel like life is moving too fast and day to day, things are kind of up in the air. Then I would say plan every night before you go to bed. Understand what your appointments are, and then where to fit in your writing, your work, and all the other needs in your life. Figure out where to fit all those things. Even if you're just planning the night before, you're going to be so much farther ahead. And let me tell you, once I started doing planning, or just even looking at my planner before I go to bed, I am so calm when I go to sleep because I don't have to worry about what's coming tomorrow. I already have an idea, and that open loop in my mind is closed. So set appointments for yourself. And I don't just mean appointments for bills or for medical or anything like that. I mean appointments for your writing, appointments for planning. Okay. Those are crucial to sticking to your plan. Treat them like an appointment, and only emergencies get to derail them. Okay. So have a system for accountability, whether this is in your home, if you have a supportive spouse or family member who can poke you and say, hey, did you write today? Hey, are you sticking to today's plan? That is so helpful. Or sometimes it's a writing buddy who can say, hey, let me see your day. Hey, did you get this thing done today? Because that's what Nicolette Terry, that's what she does for me. She says, okay, Audrey, here's today's plan. What did you get done? And we share that accountability, and it helps keep us motivated. It helps keep our minds fresh and know that someone else out there is rooting for us. That can be huge, just to have someone that is always on your side. A support network. Whether your support network is your family, are those close to you, your loved ones, or for some people, their families just don't give a hoot about their writing, and that's okay. Everybody has their thing. You have to go out and find or build your support network. And sometimes that's a critique group or a writing group, whatever that is. If you're constantly around other writers, virtually or in person, then if you have a regular date to meet up with them, you're going to, although this happens with a lot of people, all of a sudden you crank out the words right before that meeting, or you hurry up and make progress right before that weekly or monthly meeting. And you don't want to be the person who's falling behind. You don't want to be or have that feeling like you're letting anyone down. So it really actually helps give you an extra little kick, an extra little spark for your fire to have some kind of critique group or writing group that meets regularly. Does anybody here have a critique group or a writing group where they sprint together or just meet up and talk about their progress on their writing projects? Awesome. I joined an online writing group that writes Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. It's free and the support is amazing. Yes, That is crucial. I love that because you're going to be making so much more progress than if you weren't. So if you weren't in that group. So, I want to go back to this real quick. Build the discipline to show up for your dreams. It's not about motivation. Okay, some days we don't feel like showing up and doing the planning or doing the writing, or we blame writer's block or whatever. Build the discipline to show up for your dreams, my friends. Nobody else is going to show up and make that happen for you, okay? We have that power within our own hands to show up for our dreams. So, planning. Do you have a way to plan? It can be on paper, like with my beautiful planner there. It can be digital. It can be a combination of calendars. You can use an Outlook system. Oh, I love Asana. Asana is a fantastic digital tool to use. Schedule your reviews. Again, set those appointments. Weekly reviews, monthly reviews, quarterly, mid-year, yearly. I love these reviews of the plan. Is not meant to say, pass or fail, did I hit the goal? It's meant to say, oh, here's what happened. So let me adjust the plan so that I can do better this coming month or better this coming quarter, whatever it is. Accountability, we talked about that. Hopefully you have a plan or you can find a wonderful group of writers to meet up with. And if you need a group, you don't already have a group, Team Lulu says London Writer Salon is a great resource. Yes. And I have Sprints and Spirits on Facebook. It is a writing group and it's all about writing. And we do special stuff for Camps Nano and NaNoWriMo, but we're there all year round asking you about your word count and providing little motivation posts and cheering you on to keep going. So remember that when you're building your ultimate authorship plan, you don't need anything complex. You don't need anything intricate or revolutionary. You just need something that works for your life. Set up reminders. Show up when those reminders go off. Don't put them off. Show up for your dreams, okay? If we want to have a different year, a better year than the last year, we need to show up differently. We need to show up better, okay? So think about what you need to change at the smallest level, even one small thing. And if you could share that in the comments, what is one small thing you can do this year to show up better for your dreams? I would love to know that. Yes, and definitely drop those questions for me in the Q&A tab. I can't wait to answer those questions. Very excited, but I want to get through this for sure. Let's see. A cat. I do want to address that. I did, but it proved to be more of a hindrance than a help. There are writer groups that I've had that were not as good as other groups. And it was less time writing and more time talking than I needed. So you do have to sometimes find the group that works for you and that helps you actually get the writing done. Okay. That's why I started Sprints and Spirits, was because the local group I was in just wasn't working for me anymore. It wasn't giving me time to write. It was just talking, and I was commuting 28 to 30 hours a week, and I just didn't feel like I had time to meet up in person and just to talk. I wanted to get the writing done. So ADHD, Mary says ADHD, hyperfocus equals no sense of time. Yes. Let's see. Yes. Okay, cool. So your questions, let's have a conversation. What are your thoughts about planning? What are your thoughts about this? Have I shared anything with you that you can take forward into 2024? I want you to build that plan based on your priorities. Build out your 12-month map, however works for you and everything you've got going on in your life. Think about your pace, but also don't use that word realistically or realistic. Think about how you can fulfill your potential, okay? Let me know what you loved. Let's see. Let me go back up to the chat to look.
Audrey, I feel like everyone is just trying to process this immense download from.
I
know
hope
that
I
I've
didn't
been thinking
talk
quite
too
a bit.
fast.
No, it was wonderful, and that was one of the great things about it is you're so soothing and calming. And even though you're providing so much information that's really inspiring, you have a very genteel. It's like almost ASMR to listen to you talk about these things. So it was wonderful. So thank you so much for being here, and drop your questions in the chat, please. I saw one earlier that we can start with. And then we will get the ones in the chat. So Nick said, do you have a daily routine and do you favor any particular writing software or maybe longhand writing?
Oh, yes. This is such a great question, or a couple of questions. Okay. Daily routine. This is where flexibility really comes into play because I have 5 kids, like I mentioned. I have a husband, a bunch of cats and chickens, and with kids, and my number one role in my day is primary caregiver of our children. So I have to stay flexible, and when they need me, the things that I'm doing have to be moved around. So my daily routine is getting my 2-year-old down for her nap around noon. From noon to 2:33, she'll sleep, and that is when I get the most writing done. That is when I settle down and either do, if I'm recording, like doing classes or workshops, I do that. If I'm recording my short stories, I have this nice microphone over here that I keep pointing to. But I will prioritize anything that I need quiet for to be done during the time she's sleeping, or if I am having a hard time getting the words in any other time of day, morning or evening, then it's got to happen in the afternoon. So I really take it week by week. And sometimes, like the kids are sick right now, I have to take it day by day. So I just keep track of what my priority is. I know my priorities, and I know the most important project I'm working on. And every day, as long as I know the one most important thing that needs to happen to move the needle forward, I know that I'm fulfilling my potential that day. At a bare minimum, that one thing puts me that much closer to getting it done. So
yes, I feel like your theme is simplification. If you can simplify things and just like planning and being prepared. And so one of the questions that we have, and I wanted to say about your children and your young children, if you did feel at the beginning of this presentation that you were hearing a baby crying and Audrey was ignoring it, it was actually a very talkative cat and a very interested and engaged cat that loves author planning. So maybe next time we have you on, we'll be able to meet the cat. So Leanne, thank you for that question, Nick. And Leanne is asking, how do you add in the business side of author work into a planner that focuses on writing?
Yeah, so this was crucial for me because I wanted to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to market my work, to build my visibility, and to set sales goals so I have something to shoot for when I'm building a marketing plan. I don't want to do things like if I plan on marketing all social media for a month and my goal is 100 sales, and I show up 100% for that marketing, but I don't hit 100 sales. I use that as an evaluation, a tool for evaluation. So that's why I put that in the planner. I have, a blogging area or podcasting, setting up, subjects for your newsletter and tracking your open rates and click-through rates, things like that. But it has like those data points that you can record data, that you can set targets for sales or for visibility growth, visibility being like your subscribers on your newsletter list or your followers on social media, because all of those things fit in. But I would say, that really depends on where you are in your writing. If you have a nice backlist, then it's really important to have those things, give those things a place in your week. But if you're still working on your first book, I would say that should be 20% of your time, and 80% of your time should be spent, your writing time, that nice little bucket of writing, should be spent getting the words down and getting that book to publish.
And thank you for that question, Leanne. And another question to kind of follow up on that is you talk about reviewing your goals pretty regularly, or as things come up, kind of looking back at your plans and what you have scheduled. So would you say that there's a set time, or how often are you kind of stopping throughout the year and reviewing what you plan for yourself, the goals you've set for yourself, and then revising them as needed?
Yeah. So I actually put a reference in my planner to go back to the early pages for people to review those goals. But I do that. I do that every month. I look at what I intended. And this is why I use friction erasable pens, because I just cannot, I can't not have erasable pens. Okay. At this point, it's too convenient, and it allows me to say, or to not have to say, oh, I messed up and not have to scratch this out. Now it's messy. And I know for some people that aesthetic can feel like the opposite of a dopamine hit. It feels like a cortisol hit, and like a little stress point when you have to scratch something out. But if you can erase it and you can change it easily, it helps build that resilient mindset, that flexible mindset. But I weekly, I look at Sunday night or Monday morning, I sit down with my coffee, or I sit down and I've got a fluffy blanket on my desk just to make that planning experience more like calm and fun and enjoyable. And then I say, okay, what am I trying to get done? Did I finish that most important project, or what stage am I in? I look at what's most important every week, and I adjust the plan going forward. We can't change what has already happened. All we can do is move forward with the information that hopefully lessons learned we've gathered.
Mm-hmm. I think too, often people look at writing as when they can fit in once everything else is done. And so having the framework that you've set out, and I love when you say, that certain things are happening in your life, when your kids are going to school, or when you have vacation planned or spring break. So plan for those and don't let them be an excuse to derail your writing. Let them just be a part of the process that you can work around and enjoy the journey. So I think that it's such a wonderful message that you're sharing. And you had some bangers of quotes that I wrote down. I love this. I plan to fulfill my potential. It was a wonderful quote. And then build the discipline to show up for your dreams. Because as you said, who else is going to do that for you? No one is going to write the book but you. And I think
that's right.
Those harsh truths are always worth remembering and being reminded of. So I will do one last call for questions. I did drop in a link to Audrey's planner, the 2024 author planner. This is the limited edition one. But if you go to lulu.com and search for Audrey's name, you'll be able to see all of the beautiful planners she has created. Also, be sure to visit audreyhughey.com to connect with Audrey. And Audrey, do you want to share any other links or social media where folks can connect with you?
I think up on the screen, that's the best. And that 12-month project schedule bit.ly there will take you right to where you can download that. I know Nick, he did have that other question that I didn't get to answer yet. So I'm going to answer that if any other ones are coming in. Do I favor any particular writing software? Personally, I love Scrivener. And I have had clients that I've worked with who they prefer longhand, and I train them to write on their computers so we don't have to do double the work. And then you're going to have to type it in anyway. I love longhand for brainstorming and taking notes and kind of building lists. But when it comes down to writing and getting that first draft done, it's all about Scrivener for me.
Yes. Well, you got some folks agreeing with you in the chat, and I just want to end by giving you some props. So Joanne says your planner is beautiful, and Rev says I'm just in a wisdom overload in the best way possible. I wish I was like that. Ditto. She said, I think Audrey is a role model. We know Audrey is a role model. Rebecca says, alrighty, generating ideas of how to fit writing into my schedule. Very helpful. And Laura, this is one of my favorite comments because I totally relate. Audrey, I only have to take care of myself and still can't reach all of my goals. You are an inspiration. So I'm right there with you. You are all the things you have going on, and the fact that you're still able to create such wonderful content and you just have a heart to help other authors is a very beautiful, very inspiring thing to see. And I just want to thank you so much, Audrey, for fitting us into your crazy schedule, for letting us be one of the things that you knew was coming that wasn't going to stop you and you were going to allow into your schedule and make time for us. So thank you so much. I wish you health and happiness for you and all of your family. Your cat looks like it's very close to pronouncing its first words. So congratulations on that as well. You are wearing so many hats. So thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with or anything else before we sign off?
I just hope you all have an amazing year of writing and publishing, and reach out anytime on social media or my website if you need me. So
yes, please do. Thanks so much, everybody. Watch the replay on our YouTube channel. Follow Audrey wherever you can. Please come back one day and see us, Audrey. I'm sure that we'll invite you back
Always.
very, very soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.